I know this video's coming a bit late, but your boy's been busy with life, and all I gotta say is that Pokemon Presents from last week was pretty great. It had a nice opening going through all the Pokemon games, merch and content all over the years from the Pokemon series. We got more Pokemon Snap gameplay and news. And then they talked about a myriad of things happening throughout the year, like the Post Malone concert that happened recently, or how we're getting, 25th anniversary events in all the current Pokemon games, whether that be Pokemon Sword and Shield or, Pokemon Go, just anything that's, alive and well right now from the Pokemon series is getting something related to the 25th anniversary. Then they moved into some extra stuff that we were kind of expecting, but at the same time really wanting. So the first thing was the Gen 4 remakes are coming, and that they look good. I honestly think they look good. I'm gonna have a video where I sum up my opinions on them in a concise manner, but overall they look really nice. I think what they're doing with the art style is nice because I think they're trying to be more faithful to the original games, and in that regard, I think it does look nice. Many people have been arguing about whether it looks good or not. I think it looks good. I just think the chibi models are a little bit off and look sort of weird sometimes. Many people are talking about Don's model, and I think Don's model looks fine. It's just Lucas's model that looks really weird to me. But otherwise, the game looks pretty good. But wait, there's more. And that more was Pokémon Legends Arceus getting announced. This is the Pokemon game we've always wanted and that we've always imagined. I imagine anyone who's watching this video, they've played Pokemon in the past, especially when you were younger and you were, of older age like me, someone who grew up with Gen 1, 2, 3, and even 4 and 5. Those games were pre-3D Pokemon. And on top of that, we didn't really have the tech to explore a fully open world, three-dimensional Pokemon game with all the stuff that they're adding in Pokemon Legends Arceus. Yes, we had games here and there like Pokemon Coliseum, Pokemon XD Gala Darkness, and Pokemon Battle Revolution that gave us Pokemon in 3D, but never in the way that I think Pokemon Legends Arceus is doing it. They were more so adaptations of what we've already had into a 3D format, with some alterations here and there. I mean, Pokemon Legends Arceus has open world, has active battles, and has completely free camera movement, which is something we've wanted forever now. And the only taste of it we really got was in the wild area in Pokemon Sword and Shield, and we all know how disappointing that was. While I've been critical of the Pokemon franchise, of Game Freak, of Nintendo, and their handling of the Pokemon franchise for the past 2 years, this is where I think the series may actually evolve and take that step so many, including myself, have wanted it to take. In this video, I'll detail why I think this game is good for the series and my concerns for the game or with the game so far. What's good, everybody out there on YouTube? This is your man Shadicstick, and before we start, I'm hyped. Don't get the wrong idea, but I'm cautiously hyped. Sword and Shield, in my opinion at least, were really bad games. And Let's Go was a lazy introduction for Pokemon into the HD, world. And I'm gonna say what a lot of people are saying right now about Pokemon Legends Arceus, and that its graphics and performance aren't looking too hot. Now, I will say this, it won't be out for at least a year from now at the earliest, should it not get delayed or pushed back or anything like that. And I think that many of the technical issues here can be fixed with time and can be fixed within that year. I think what Pokemon Legends Arceus is doing is really smart. It's using its art style to its advantage, and I feel like many of the technical cleanup that it'll have to do is a lot. I think it has to do a lot less technical cleanup, say for instance in comparison to something like a Pokemon Sword and Shield. Especially because it's being carried by art style so heavily. It's going for more of that paintbrush anime aesthetic rather than having super hardcore rim lighting around every single character and Pokemon model, and then characters at night looking like they're, lighting up the entire room. But there is a reason why the game looks the way it does. The level of detail is low, and I'm talking about LOD in terms of, graphical settings. This is obvious in the frame rate of some of the Pokemon animations and how far vegetation renders and just, in general, the render distance. On top of this, many of the textures are just really blurry and low resolution, and the frame rate is pretty bad. The resolution is also pretty low, which would be fine considering we've had many other Switch games that have lower resolutions and look great. I think the best example is Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but that game has a lot of anti-aliasing and sharpening filters over, which Pokémon Legends Arceus doesn't. There's no anti-aliasing, nothing to, help clean up the image at all, and I think that hurts it in the long run, at least for right now. It may sound like I'm railing on the game already, but it's apparent that this time around they're taking full advantage of the Nintendo Switch. I just hope that these things improve with time. The art style is definitely carrying it better than something like Sword and Shield, but at a technical level it just is not there yet. But my next concern is with gameplay. This is the evolution from Pokemon that we've always wanted. I think the move to an ATB system is pretty great, but how will this affect the competitive scene more than anything else? Will this game have any type of, online multiplayer versus any co-op, anything like that? They haven't told us yet. One of the reasons why Pokemon's competitive scene kind of thrived and flourished was because the game's combat was simple at a, move level. You have 4 moves, your Pokemon typing and all that. And while you worried about your speed stat, it was less so about the specific number and more so about worrying about whether it was just high or low for whatever Pokemon you had. Whereas now, I'm thinking the speed stat more than likely is going to relate to how the ATB bar feels, or how fast the Pokemon attacks you because of the way the game functions now. On top of that, will the depth of Pokemon actually be erased due to the game still relying on old conventions such as PP? If you guys don't remember, during the showcase of Pokémon Legends Arceus, they actually showed a little bit of combat, and it was still apparent that they were using the PP system for moves, which I hope they would have moved away from, especially considering that they're using an ATB game. And maybe this is to balance it out and add some type of difficulty and make sure that you can't just go around one-shotting every Pokemon in the land with no repercussions. I don't know. But what I do know is that it's still there and it's still holding over some of the things from previous entries, at least mechanically. But something that I've been wondering about is, will the different Pokemon in the world actually act differently? One of my issues with Pokemon Sword and Shield is how that they had all these different Pokemon roaming around in the wild area, and all of them just kind of wandered. For the most part, between most species of Pokemon, there weren't any new distinguishing traits between them, whether they be aggressive, passive, do other things, maybe they run around and try to play with you. These are things at least that we didn't see in Pokemon Sword and Shield, and it was really disappointing considering that was supposed to be the next step in the Pokemon series. It was supposed to evolve it, but it just felt like a bunch of half steps and a bunch of bad execution all the way down the line. And on top of that, will our catching skills and technique actually matter? Because as you saw in the trailer, the player actually threw a Pokeball at a Shinx, and the Shinx kind of just did nothing. Is that because the Shinx won't react to it? Or merely because it's a low-level Pokemon? I want to know how these Pokemon will react to getting caught, because we already know that they can attack you and vice versa. So how will they react to getting caught? And another thing is, there were 2 Shinx there. One of the Shinx just was going about his day like the other Shinx didn't get caught. But maybe that was just for demonstration purposes, that we have a whole new catching system and it'll actually take some type of skill or take, some actual player control to actually be able to catch the Pokemon. I don't know. I don't think that, I'm concerned about all of these gameplay elements being added. That's not the point. I'm more worried about the execution of these things because Game Freak is just known for not, delivering. It's less about if Game Freak can deliver and more about will they choose to deliver. And that's my issue. Alright, let's move on from my concerns and let's actually talk about how Legends Arceus moves the Pokemon series forward. While I detailed my concerns for, many of those concerns were rooted in stuff that I'm actually hyped for, like the ATB system. It's most notably from the Final Fantasy franchise, where the Final Fantasy franchise is known for making that type of gameplay popular within RPGs. Because on top of, kind of eliminating the turn-based combat, while there's still turns in quotation marks, it allows the battle to feel a lot more dynamic and it allows the player to feel a lot more involved because the enemy won't sit around and wait for the player to just make a move. and the player can't just wait for the enemy to make a move. You always have to be on your toes and always have to be, guessing, expecting, and, theorizing on what the enemy, what the Pokemon, what the gym leader, whoever is going to do now that we have an ATB system. On top of that, it looks like there's actual proper Pokemon scaling, and this made me really mad in Pokemon Sword and Shield because I saw Wailord, and Wailord was not the biggest Pokemon on the planet, when that's Wailord's entire purpose is to be the biggest thing on the screen. This didn't just apply to Wailord. Many other Pokemon were either too big or too small in comparison to what they actually should be. So when I moved, from Pokemon on my handheld and moved to Pokemon on my console, the adventure somehow feels a lot smaller because of the improper scaling of the Pokemon in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Whereas you would imagine that when you move a Pokemon game to console, the experience would get bigger. I think the best example of this are previous games like Pokemon Coliseum, Pokemon XD Gala Darkness. Those games had proper Pokemon scaling. Wailord, say for instance, because that's the easiest example to pull from, is massive in those games. And those were on the Nintendo GameCube. We're on the Nintendo Switch. There's no excuse for proper Pokemon scaling to have to be a pro in this video because a previous entry in the mainline series couldn't get it right. But on top of that, we've gotten new Pokemon models this time around. This is evident by the Oshawott and the Cyndaquil. First of all, they fixed my boy Cyndaquil. And second of all, the Oshawott had an actual fully modeled mouth. Whereas if the 3DS and the Sword and Shield and the Let's Go models were all the same models. And in those models, a lot of the Pokemon didn't have modeled mouths outside of, I think, Pikachu getting a modeled mouth in Pokemon Let's Go. And this shows some type of effort to at least modernize the series and bring it into a new era and keep the series alive and fresh and looking better and better. The next thing on the list is actually the completely open world as more exploration comes to the series. This is a series that highly benefits from having a massive open world and exploration because it's all about catching and finding new Pokemon and creating new experiences with those Pokemon. I really want to see what they can do, especially in terms of mythical and legendary Pokemon later on in this Pokemon Legends series. I mean, even in this game, I want to see how they can essentially challenge the player with the environment to add some difficulty to the game outside of just pure combat. You already know that there's going to be stuff like climbing and flying in the game, or gliding, much like The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So, I want to see them add some type of challenges and puzzles to the overworld to make this game feel even more dynamic in that regard. Especially when it comes to caves and lakes and giant Pokemon in these caves and lakes, or mythicals and legends. I'm sorry, it's just one of those things that I really want to come to Pokemon to freshen up the experience a bit. Because now Pokemon truly feels like it's a AAA series now that we're getting all this stuff. According to the leaks, again, we'll be able to ride Pokemon in our party in a more immersive way. On top of that, we have new animations for the Pokemon, and Pokemon actually approach each other and physically move towards each other to attack, much like Pokemon Battle Revolution, but I think executed a lot better. I think the best example of this is actually when Garchomp goes to attack Gallade, or when Lucario does what I assume to be close combat on a Garchomp, if I remember correctly. And the next thing that gets me really hyped is the fact that Pokemon are now able to attack the player, which adds a new layer of depth and difficulty that I believe the series sorely needed, because it punishes the player for not being on their toes and for losing all their party members, which I think is cool. I'm going to be calling, Pokemon Legends Pokemon Souls from now on. But on top of the whole new style of gameplay and world, I think the thing that really makes this, I guess, an incredible leap forward for the Pokemon series is that this game actually explores the lore of the Pokemon universe in the individual regions. They decided to take the Sinnoh region, blow it up, and actually explore the lore within the Pokemon world. And this is really big because it flips the concept of what a new Pokemon game can be. A new way to interact with the Pokemon world we're already familiar with eliminates the need of bringing in a ton of new Pokemon. Like, that's one of my biggest issues with Pokemon. I feel like they don't necessarily need to bring in a whole new slew of Pokemon every single time a new game comes out. I feel like they can already use the Pokemon there and just expand on gameplay elements to make them feel more unique. I feel like each Pokemon matters a lot more in the grand scheme of things. I think Pokemon Legends is doing this. Hopefully it does it well though. and this allows for some of the older gameplay concepts and mechanics to come back and be freshened up. I'd love to see Gigantamax and Dynamax return in this type of setting. I feel like this is actually the setting where it'd be the coolest to see giant Pokemon just roaming around and being able to run your fade on sight. Or having Mega Evolved Pokemon duke it out with other Pokemon around you. And maybe the Mega Evolution only lasts for a little bit, and because they obviously have to rebalance it and change the way it works, for it to work with the ATB system. But I think it would just be really cool to see this stuff. And honestly, I think all of this stuff is the leap forward, again, that the Pokemon series needed. So in conclusion, while I have my concerns for this game, I think it'll likely be a good or even great game considering what we've seen now and how much time we have till the game actually releases. And overall, I think the best route for Pokemon fans is to be cautiously hyped. Again, Pokemon Sword and Shield was a huge letdown for many in the fan base. Even if you like the game, you have to think about how everyone as a whole felt, and everyone was not on board with that game. And it's obvious that something behind the scenes had to have happened for that game to turn out the way it did, regardless if you like the game or not, or think it's good or bad. And I think that line of thinking has turned to something where it's less about staying with what's old and what works, and more about evolving the series and pushing it forward into a new era. But guys, this has been your man Shadicstick. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell. It really helps a brother out and helps you stay notified and update for when my videos come out and when they release. On top of that, I'm going to try to have a Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl video coming soon. So again, hit that notification bell, stay notified. On top of that, you should follow me on Twitter at MobShadic100. Links as always are down in the description below. But this has been your man Shadicstick. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Share this video out with your friends. Remember, Hot Frogger turns to Cold Buzaga. Make sure you check out some of my other videos. Peace. Kiss, kiss.